Does it get any better? I could say anything right now and you'd buy. So I'm going to say a lot of things and I really want you to buy today. But remember one thing, I never ask you to do anything because I say it. I ask you to try something so that you can find out if it works for you. Because no one has the answer but you. This is the great fallacy about this idea of self-love. This idea that we must please another. That if another doesn't give us approval, we're not worth anything. And it's fascinating. Everywhere you go, this week I was focused totally on this concept of self-love. And everywhere I looked, I saw examples where self-love was not being demonstrated. And there was this one woman on the internet. And she's doing a thing. She wants to raise money to do a film. And they show her, and she went and she did a professional bodybuilding competition. And she was not in shape. She was not what you would consider a woman of athletic means, okay? But she went and she did the competition. They showed pictures of her in the competition, and she was in athletic shape. She was there. And the comment she made was she felt no different in the body of a bodybuilder that with an 8% body fat, shaped in every way, than she did when she was 30 pounds heavier. And then showed a picture of her after the fact, where she was showing herself just covered slightly, and you could see she was back to being her normal self, where she had rolls and things in different places, that society would have judged her and said, that is not acceptable. That is not what a beautiful woman looks like. And I use that idea about women, but the same thing is true about men. The idea is society or someone out there advertising or whatever has said, this is the image, and if you are in this image, you are worthy of being loved. But if you are not there, then there's more that you can have. You see, this is the fallacy. This is so incredible when you really break this down. It's like if you lose 5 pounds, sex will feel better. I want to share with you, it feels good no matter what. You see, because everything that we're looking to have is an idea that is brought into our feeling nature. And brought into our feeling nature, we get to feel it. And all we ever seek in life is this ability to feel life at its very fullest. That's all we seek. We don't seek a perfect body. We don't seek a perfect partner. We don't seek a lot of money. We don't seek a car. We seek the feeling of it. And guess who controls the feeling? We do. Only I control how Lee feels about anything. And only you control how you feel. So what I've come to understand is this idea of self-love is a journey. But it's a really tricky one. Because it's a paradox. A paradox means that in the journey, there's two complete opposites. Because in the journey of self-love, there's this idea of acceptance. Okay? So on this side, we're totally accepting everything about our lives, everything about us, everything about it. And then on this side is our dream to become more. About a higher expression of love, a higher expression of who we are. And so there we are, accept me as I am, but become more. Accept me as I am, become more. And we get confused. I get confused as you live that. The idea is, accept where you are. Embrace it. Wrap your arms around yourself and just love you. In your mind, come from a place of being the ultimate person that you desire to be. So when you're accepting yourself in physical form, in physical experience with all the things around you, you accept it as it is, but your mind has shifted. And you're shifting that mind consciously and deliberately every moment of every day with every breath to come from a place of being the man or the woman that you see as the ultimate. So if we're on this path and we're on this journey to seek that, we have to first know who we are. And you see, even in the idea of who we are, we're living in a paradox. Because there's the aspect that says that we are infinite, all-knowing, everywhere present. We've always been, always will be, and we are all-powerful right where we are. That's the divine. And yet, then there's the human, where the intellectual mind comes in and says there is limitation, there is opposites, there is contrast. And you see, we go into this all the time. We talk about coming in alignment and being in the center of it, being in the grounded in both the spirit, in the infinite, and yet being grounded in the finite, and realize that we're here to have an experience. And so in that's why we have a spiritual practice, that's meditation, because meditation takes us out of the mind, the intellect, takes us into where we let go of that, and we're into the nothingness, which is the allness, which is the presence of God that exists only within us. You see, it exists everywhere, but as far as we're concerned, it only exists within us, because until we tap into that, it's not going to show. And one of the things that really came up in class one day this week was this idea. One individual was basically saying, I hear you people talk that when you go into meditation, you go into la-la land, but I never get to la-la land. What's that about? And you see, what are we doing there? We're judging. Are we not? And what is meditation? It's about non-judgment, about being in the stillness, not judging ourselves, not judging how deep we are, not judging where the other person is, just taking time to be still, to be silent, to just be. And to just be maybe a whole bunch of monkey chatter going on at the same time. And maybe, just maybe, in that 20 minutes, for just a nanosecond, you are in the space between thoughts. That's the beginning of the birthing of a divine life. You see, you're never going to get to a meditation where thoughts aren't going around. You're never going to get to a habit where meditation, you let go of everything. The Dalai Lama talks about this. The Dalai Lama started meditating at 15. He says, I didn't get deep until my 50s, 60s, and now beyond, and I still have the monkey chatter. This is a man who meditates continuously all the time. It is a practice. It is a journey. Meditation is a journey from human mind into infinite divine mind. So it's something that goes on every day. I'm reading a book by a hip-hop artist right now, Russell Simmons. And in it, he talks about that. He talks about the aspect that changed his life is that he meditates 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes twice a day. 20 minutes twice a day. It's fascinating. That's what every great yogi teaches. If you go to Vipassana, twice a day. If you go to Kriya Yoga, twice a day. If you go to Transcendental Meditation, twice a day. Everyone is saying twice a day. The numbers vary. But what I hear the most of is 20 and 20. When I teach classes, I ask people to go 5 and 5 because it's a building process. If you're not meditating at all, to go into 20 and 20 is torture. You might as well be, it's like waterboarding. You know, we could eliminate, the government can waterboard. You're forced to meditate for 20 minutes. By God, they'll be cracking all the secrets they ever wanted by doing that. Because that monkey mind is going like this. But if you can just slow it down for 5 and start building off of that 5, 5, 5 for 3 weeks and then maybe go 6. You see, we don't have to go too hard. It's a journey. It's an eternal journey that we're talking about here. So we've got that where we're looking at the human thing of who are we? We are the divine. That's what we're trying to recognize. We are the infinite expressing. This physical body is not who you are. This physical body is an outpicturing of what you believe you are. That's really the key thing about the physical body. The physical body is an outpicturing about what you believe you are. Now, you are born into this world with certain DNA, okay? Let's face it. Some people will be 5'5", some people will be 6'2". It's the DNA. But how you're in this body, your acceptance of the body, how you create that body in a healthful way that allows you to perform and function in the way that you desire in the world, that's your choice. Are you seeing that? That the creative power that you have is, this is a vessel, this is a vehicle through which you get to experience contrast, you get to experience life, you get to experience the 5 senses. Now, the idea is create your body in your perfect way so that when you're experiencing life, it gives you maximum benefit. For me, it's being able to function. It's being able to sit in my CRZ. Most people my age will never own a CRZ. A CRZ is a little Honda. It's a little two-seater. It's like sporty. It's a hybrid, but it's low. But most people over 40, they ain't getting down in those low seats. And the thing is, they may get down because they just let their butts go kaplunk. But getting up is a bitch. And you see, I just want you to know that I get in that car easily and effortlessly because I see myself as a young, virile, 25-year-old male athlete. That's the image that I hold for myself. It's not that I may not look 25, okay? I'll admit it. I don't look 25, but my body functions as if. And that's all that matters is how does your body function? And when you've built the functionality, now you're saying, I love my body because my body is that. But sometimes my body wasn't that. But I had to love my body as it was, thinking from the place of where I wanted it. And then when I'm thinking from the place I wanted it, I'm loving it as it is, but I'm acting as if, and my body makes a transformation. You following that? So not only did I know who I was, but I also knew where I wanted to be. That's the second step. And you see, in that second step of knowing where you want to be what? You want to be experiencing oneness at all times if you can. As much as possible in the human mind, you want to be in that state of interconnectivity so that when you're connected in your oneness, you can be connected with everyone you meet. You can see the perfection of them despite how they're acting. And you see, the key thing is that's the divine. That's the oneness of the divine. Now, from the human's aspect of where do we want to go, you got to know what you value. You've heard me say this a lot up here. If you don't know what you value, you're lost. You're absolutely lost. Most people, if I sit down with them and I say, tell me your top 5 values, they'll tell me 1 or 2, and they'll find out after we've conversed for a while, they're really not their values. They're what other people told them they should do, what other people told them they should be. People have never sat down and said, what juices you? What brings forth the greatest of you? Where can you bring a service into the world, a beingness into the world that others will want to be a part of and serve, and you are giving all that you are and everything raises because of that vibration. If you are a magnificent person who knows computers, and you have a gift that when people get a virus or a bug, that you can make their lives magnificently more easy, and you can do that with joy, and you're giving that service, and you see the response of people, your business will grow beyond anything you can imagine because it's the attitude you're taking into it. You realize you have this analytical gift that's able to do that. You see, not everyone is meant to be a minister. Not everyone is meant to be a nurse. Not everyone is meant to be a doctor. We're meant to be different things. And it's not that we're meant to be things. It's what are we going to express as we're being it. You see, that's the key thing. It's not what you do. It's what are you expressing when you do it that's important. The great thing is that Bonnie, I know, one of our interior designers for our room, and Colleen, they weren't interior designers till recently. Bonnie worked in the banking industry, am I right? Colleen was a police officer, am I right? Okay, a banker and a police officer. And now they formed a sisterhood, and they're now the affordable decorators. And so they came and got this gift. That's their gift. They decided this is our passion. We're going to pair up as sisters, and we're going to bring this gift to the world. And so when we opened our suite, they volunteered it. They volunteered their service, and they created an energy. And then I've got Beverly over here. And Beverly here, she marketed a chiropractor. That's who I know Beverly as. She was marketing a chiropractor. Well, Beverly is a feng shui expert. She volunteered and brought her love and joy into the room, combining it with Colleen. Do you see? Oneness drew them into Agape, then they drew this into Agape. This came out, and if anyone has been to our space and they've seen this room, they know how magnificent it is because they feel it. When you walk into the room, it feels like love. Here's the fascinating thing. I went to where our suite was, and I went upstairs to our individual who does our SEO management, our search engine optimization to give us the place. Well, they're right above us, directly above us. And I'm sitting down talking to this magnificent gentleman, and he's saying, Lee, everywhere I go, all I hear about is agape. What is that about? It's fascinating that this energetic is there. And here's what happened. After a Chamber of Commerce meeting, I brought a couple individuals who wanted to know what it was like. I said, come with me. After the Chamber, let's go back to the Jaeger Suites. And I brought them back to the Jaeger Suites. And these two people are real talkers, meaning they're really connected in the Frisco area. And I said, come in. And I took them on a tour, and I showed them everything about it, talked to them about the greatness. Then I took them back into our suite, and they went, oh, my God. This is like the best suite we've ever seen. In an executive office suite, to have this energy here. And what's happened is they've gone out into the world, and they're spreading it everywhere. You see, you have to know where you're going. In my mind, we're creating the most magnificent spiritual center that will have an impact on changing the face and the beliefs of the world. In order to have that spiritual center that empowers individuals to be their magnificent self, you have to speak it. You can't be afraid to say it. You can't hide behind a rock. You've got to bring people in. You've got to let them feel the energy, see the energy, and know the energy. Because when you are doing, when you know who you are, you know where you're going, and you're speaking it into the world, you are self-loving. The thing is, we're so afraid of being judged because we're not living up to society's values. Give society the finger. Because society is trying to box you in. Society is trying to control you. Society is trying to get you to mold. Schools are trying to mold you. When you hear your student getting disciplined because they're not fitting in exactly, ask why. Don't automatically assume that they're doing something wrong. Maybe they're questioning a system that is not working right, and you as a parent have an obligation to find a way for that child to get the best education that allows them to think freely, clearly, and for themselves. Now, I have to love myself today because I didn't know that raising my sons. But I can speak it into the world now, and hopefully others will know it, and so they can support their children as they are now. Because when you do that, you're authentic. Let me tell you, they don't want you to be authentic. People that want to control you, they don't like authenticity because they can't keep you in a box. I don't know about you, but for 30 years I was in the corporate world, and I wore a three-piece suit with a white shirt and a tie, and I looked damn good. And have you ever seen me in a three-piece suit and a tie since I've come to Agape? No, because it's not Lee. And even when you find spiritual people, what you perceive are spiritual people, because everyone is spiritual, they'll say, well, this is the dress that a minister should wear. And I remember going to a class, and they brought in a fashion consultant from Yves Saint Laurent, and he was really pretty. He was as good-looking a man. If I was going to date a man, he'd be the one I'd want to date. I'm going to tell you right there, because he was good-looking. But he was telling me how I should dress, and I tried. It didn't work for me. He wanted me to wear these long, pointed shoes. I like tassels. I ain't giving up tassels. I'm just telling you right now, if you're looking for a minister with long, pointed shoes, there's a church over there, or one over there, or one over there. I'm wearing tassels. I like tassels. You got to know what you like. I'm the individualization of God, and no matter what, I have tassels. I could really go with that, couldn't I? Okay, so we're come back to the paradox. Knowing who you are, you're both God and you're human. Knowing where you're going, you're both going down a divine path and a human path. When you know that, then it's a matter of acceptance. Accepting yourself as you are, knowing where you're going and acting as if you're going there. And it's living in that paradox in a world that is filled with contrast. The world, no matter how you look at it, the contrast is everywhere present. It is always present. It always will be. It can't be anything different. People will say to you, I wish I could just eliminate all the change. You can't. Change is who we are. Change your middle name to Change, because it's who you are. I am Lee Change Wolak. And have I got change for you? Play with this idea. Because here's what happens in relationships. When we get stuck into a form of behavior and we're no longer becoming more, what happens to the relationship? It gets very boring and we tend to die, or we go drift off and find someone else who's not boring and dry, but we're still taking the same boring person over there. And so after we get through the initial phase, we take the boringness back into that relationship, and then we come out and say, got to find someone new, and we're going to go over to this relationship. We're taking the same boring person, but initially it's fun because they haven't seen our boring side yet, but eventually they're going to see our boring side. You see, in order to keep the relationship going, you have to be the one building it. You have to be the one shifting. You have to be the one changing. You have to accept that you are always going to be changing, and here's the bitch. They're going to be changing too. This is the paradox. To be self-loving means to know who you are, to know where you're going, and to accept yourself as you are. But you can't do that unless you accept everyone else where they are. So you can't break the two. You can't be the holier than thou. I'm in self-love, but look at what that son of a gun's doing. Look at what that one's doing. Look at what those politicians are doing. You have to be able to look at the situation. You look through the illusion to see the truth. That's one of my favorite affirmations right now. I look through the illusion and I see the truth. The truth is that everyone is an individualization of the divine, and at this moment they're doing their best to express their perfection. And in that, no matter what they're doing, I will not judge it. I will not have an opinion about it. I do not need to be a part of it. I have a choice of who I'm interacting with. But I am going to accept everyone where they are, what they're doing, and see that they're God. That's a job. That's what the master teacher Jesus came forth to say. That's what the master teacher Buddha came forth to say. That's what Krishna came forth to say. Under everything, that's what Mohammed came forth to say. Everyone said you have to see beyond the illusion to the truth, that there's one power, there's one presence. It is infinite. It has always been. It is expressing as everyone in this world. No one is better than or worse than anyone else. The second you think that you're higher on the spiritual journey than someone else, wait a minute. You will get hit in the head by the cosmic 2x4 of life. And if you keep pretending, that cosmic 2x4 will become a cosmic 2x12. And then it may go to a 4x4. You know what that's like? Then it may become a concrete brick. Here's what I understand. You can go as low as you want to go. No one's going to care. Because there's no God judging it. There's no God going to save you. Because the God that's going to judge, the God that's going to save, is right in you. And at any moment, the second you decide to take a step up, to take a step into the oneness, to take a step into the truth and out of the illusion, you have begun a new journey. And that journey begins every moment of every day, because at every moment of every day, you are at choice. And when you are at choice, you are always empowered. Can you breathe that in? That's a real important thing. You are always empowered, and all it takes is a shift of thought, followed by another, followed by another, followed by another. So look at the person next to you. Make sure you look at someone. Do you notice that when you look in their eyes, they're perfect? Now, when you look in their eyes, can you see your eyes reflected back? Because if you can't see your eyes reflected back, you haven't looked deep enough. And you want to freak people out today? When you're talking to people, get right into their eyes. Because that will freak them out, and they'll say, what are you doing? He says, I'm just arranging my hair. I see the reflection of God in your eyes, and it's me. And I really like that. So I'm going to be looking into your eyes a lot. We forget that. I know I forget that. I get caught up in the day-to-day, and I look at my wife, and I say, well, that's my wife. I've been with her for 40-some years. But if I stop and look into her eyes, I see a freshness, a wholeness, a newness. The same thing if I look into my son's eyes or my father's eyes. When I look into your eyes, that's connection. When you're looking to see the truth in someone, you're coming from a place of saying, I love myself enough that I can see the truth in you like I see it in me. But if you're hiding from yourself. You're not hiding from anyone else. That's the great mystery. We think we're hiding from other people. We're hiding from ourselves. We're hiding from our own greatness. We're hiding from that one thing that recognized would give us all the joy we would ever seek. So I challenge you this week, go home by yourself, get naked in front of the mirror, look at yourself and accept yourself as you are. Because if you can't do it with your physical body, if you're going to judge your physical body as being not in shape, not right, then how are you going to go back and look at all the things you've done through however many years you've been alive that are probably a lot more devastating than anything your body's going to demonstrate? How can you do that? You've got to start right where you are, and the easiest thing is your physical self. Look at it, accept it, and love it, and if it's not what you want, accept it anyway, and then start becoming the person who's living in a body that's fully functioning that does it. And after you've done that, start examining every thought. Is this thought serving me? Is this thought lifting me? Am I expressing a greater sense of love? Am I being kind to this person? Am I being loving to this person? Am I being loving to myself by being sarcastic? You're not. You got a job ahead of you this week, because you're going to look at your life a bit differently than you've ever looked at it before. And if you take the time, you will change. If you don't take the time, your life will continue just as it is. And it will continue just as it is. And it will continue just as it is. And you'll be here next week, and nothing will have changed. But rest assured, I will look at you, and I will see who you are. And no matter what you've done, you are always welcome. You will always be accepted. Because I want to make something really clear. A lot of times in the New Thought movement, and we're a part of the New Thought movement, people stop coming when something's not going right because they felt that they were a failure and they would be judged. That's contrary to everything we believe. If something's not going right in your life, come and let us see the light for you. Let us hold the truth. Let Jean or myself pray with you. Put a prayer request in. Be around like-minded people, because guess what? That's self-love. That's saying, yes, I'm in a hurtful place. I am there. I'm not well in my physical beingness, but I deserve more. I'm going to come to a place where I am loved. I am accepted. I am not judged. I want that message to sink in, because there are times in our lives when we need to just be. And sometimes not a word needs to be said. You can be sitting right there in that empty chair, and just being there, your whole world can change, because you'll be a part of an energy that knows your truth. Let's go within. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.